Teenage Wrist. The album, Still Love. Third studio album from this hybridization of grunge. Man, that's started off being more of a hybrid between grunge and shoegaze, and then eventually, within follow-up releases, started to incorporate a little bit more 90s alternative, and I guess in some elements of 80s alternative in this recent record, a little bit. I had to sneeze there, sorry about that. But anyways, the band consisted of members, vocalist and bass guitarist Campton Mohager, lead guitarist and vocalist Marshall Gallagher, and drummer Anthony Salazar. Inspired by alternative rock and grunge music in the 90s, the group wrote and recorded their debut extended EP, Dazed, released in 2015 on Pale Wave. The following year, the band released Live at Noise Constellation before signing to Epitaph Records and releasing their debut album Chrome Neon Jesus in 2018. Since then, they've released a couple other albums. Earth is a Black Hole, which I did cover, and now we're here talking about Still Love, which their previous two albums, apparently they were a duo consisting of Anthony Salazar and Marshall Gallagher. With Campton Mohager and Chase Barham having left the band before recording Earth is a Black Hole. And here we are now. Though they do have touring members with Jordan Culp on guitar and Jose Trujillo, not sure if he's related to Rob Trujillo, on bass. But yeah, we have the Still Love here. And what we got seems to be, to me, possibly I could say this might be better than Earth is a Black Hole, but I need to listen to their discography to know for sure on it. But I don't think there's an album that I would not recommend you to not start with, honestly, with this band. But I really think it all depends on how much you like grunge and like shoegazy stuff. Which, let's say Sunshine, this opening track is freaking a great banger of an opener. Dark Sky featuring S.A. Martinez from 311, the rapper portion of 311. Initially, I wasn't sure about his feature. Sure, when this single came out, but I wound up liking it better, more here in the context of the record, where it's placed. And then following that is the other single, Still Love, featuring Soft Cult, where they collabed with the band Soft Cult, which I guess is a more shoegazy grunge-based act as well. And bringing adding more female vocals to what Teenage Wrist themselves are bringing to the table really does help in the case of some of these tracks here to break the monotony for sure of what this record could have had. That might have been an issue with the last record. That didn't bother me nearly as much as most people. Though their follow-up, Digital Self, was it's probably one of their better lyrical tracks, especially the chorus hits real hard. The following track, Something's Good, It's Nice. Wax Poetic is also pretty interesting with the feature, which is another use of great female vocals from Sister Void. Ironically, Diorama does kind of give me Diorama vibes, like Silverchair Diorama vibes. Figure that. Cold Case is interesting. I do feel like it. And then Cigarette Two-Step, featuring David Marion, with Fear Before the Dawn, I guess. This track is pretty heavy, though I do not care for the weird thing they do to end this track around the bridge. Though luckily Humbug fixes that and picks things up. And Humbug, which featuring Heavenward, that's so good. But yeah, the flow of this record is really, really tight as far as I'm concerned. A lot of, hell, from the opening track Sunshine and the Cigarette two-step track, the drums are very obviously influenced by around the Fur era Deftones, for sure. Like, you can't unhear that drum sound from that record, especially when you've heard the first few hits from that open, like, Round the Fur with from My Own Summer, which opens that record. You can't not unhear those drum sound comparisons with this. And then of course there's some like Hum Smashing Pumpkins, clearly some hints of Sonic Youth, maybe some at least in more 90s era Sonic Youth, where they blended grunge and shoegaze together, kind of a thing, with their weird avant-garde tuning styles. Then there's and of course the blend of Pumpkins and Hum stuff definitely helps with the guitar tones. So definitely like that Siamese Dream Pumpkins meets Siamese Dream Pumpkins meets freaking whatever. Well, it's like, yeah, I love what Sonic Youth was pretty much breeding around that point, from their influences in Nirvana and Mudhoney, and My Bloody Valentine. Once that particular brand of shoegaze, definitely that kind of a thing is going on here. Those blendings, even some elements of like Blue Album Weezer, like sonically, not so much lyrically or anything necessarily. And side, but for me, Sprawled is one of the better tracks, and I feel like should have just ended this record. Just ended it here. But instead we got Polama, aka Ketamine, which was which the actual song itself's not bad, but I wouldn't have closed with it, especially with the weird beat behind the scenes stuff that I feel like kind of puts a little bit of a bittersweet ending to this thing that really didn't need. And it almost feels like it's kind of a bonus track, really, and not a actual part of this record. Because honestly, given it's 11 tracks here, they could have cut this. I honestly feel like they could have cut this track out and just ended the album with Sprawled, and we'd have been good. And it would have been a honest to God, a perfect little cap off of this record, and I would have probably given this a much, much higher score for that reason. Because Sprawled has, you don't end not end a song where you bring in a fucking saxophone. That's done super well here on this, like you did on Sprawled. Like, dude, like that's like, after that it's like how the fuck are you gonna actually end this after this track? And kind of does disappoint you with Ketamine, but yeah. Not enough to make me not want to come back to this record, necessarily. I just will. If I do, I'm not going to listen. I'm probably less likely going to want to listen to Ketamine and stuff. I'll probably take it out and just say Sprawled was the end of this record. And call her good. That's how I'd redact this thing, if I had to. But even still, overall, regardless of that final track, I kind of want to say, overall, despite my complaints I've had with this record, it's still surprisingly great. And yeah, like, strong, keeping it real to light to solid horns, actually, on this one. I also really enjoyed this just as much as the Wolfgang record. If not, maybe more in certain aspects, you know what I mean? But yeah. What do you guys think of Teenage Wrist's Still Love? Is this the first time you listened to Teenage Wrist? For me, the first time was Earth is a Black Hole, for me, but yeah, I was more pleasantly surprised how this album turned out as a whole, for the most part. And yeah, despite the moments that were kind of or mid, they weren't enough to kind of completely drown this record for me. There's enjoyable experience as a whole for me. So yeah, I mean, if this is your first time you listen to them, I mean, sure, I'd still, like, probably maybe give the previous two albums a little bit more of a chance, but yeah, there's some new metal-y moments here on those, like, because that they start to kind of, that Deftones-y new metal-y thing, which, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that they started incorporating some of those elements, given the collab they did with the Deftones core of a band in Loathe, on one of their tracks. They redid. They were one of the artists that redid it outside of Sleep Token, and I preferred this band's collab rendition they did with Loathe over Sleep Tokens. That's for sure. Hell, that was my first full exposure to Sleep Token, and I was like, it's not bad, but why am I hearing Benjamin Bentley or whatever doing shit for, I don't know. That's what I was feeling when I first listened to them. But even though I will say I kind of like with the exception of one particular track that everyone knows when they heard the record, yeah, it's not bad. The record's not bad, but I can see how it's not fully for me. But just so you know with that thing. But anyways, I'm getting off track. As far as this Teenage Wrist album, Still Love, what did you guys think of this record? Leave a comment below, let me know. If you like this video, rock your like button with thrust if you must. Hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell to get all my videos. And as always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, y'all.